to the Rythym track at Durhamtown. The Rythym track is designed to be like Red Bull straight rhythm. It's perfectly straight. And it's comprised of all rhythm sections. And the best part about it is you turn around at the other end and there's another one right next to it. Maybe they should call it the dual rhythm. It's a great track to practice your jumping and timing skills if you're getting into motocross or arena cross or supercross, or just want to hone your jumping skills without having to worry about turning. As you can see, the track is perfectly straight. Doubles, triples, tabletops. Eric is the resident professional track test rider. He's 50 years old, and that's a 2001 Yamaha YZ250 with hundreds of hours on it that he rides here every week. Eric's the guy that's made all the track revisions and restoration with his team of guys over the last 4 years. He's been here 4 years full-time building, designing, and improving the tracks. Looks like a lot of fun. Again, Eric's 50 years old on a 22-year-old dirt bike, proving you don't need to be 15 on a brand new 450 to come out here and have a blast. This is one of his favorite tracks to ride here, for obvious reasons. A lot of the changes Eric has made were revolving around safety for the riders. And as you can see, these are big rhythm sections, but no big penalty box in the middle, AKA it's not a huge double. They're mostly tabletop, so you're not gonna get hurt if you case it. You just land on the top. So it'll give you the chance to work your way up to hitting the big jump a little bit at a time. I personally don't recommend going out hucking the big jumps first time out. In a track like this is a great training tool because you can work your way up to it a little bit at a time. You don't need to huck it first lap. Jump it halfway the first lap, 3/4 of the way, and then once you're confident, go ahead and hit it. The best part of about these 20-plus-year-old two-strokes is parts are cheap. You can rebuild the top end for about $150. They run forever, as evidenced by his daily ridden 22-year-old bike here. And you don't have to be a manic mechanic, or you don't have to be the wizard to rebuild them. An average mechanic can do the top end on one of these in a couple hours. Unlike a 20-year-old four-stroke where you got to really know what you're doing with cams and cam chains and valves and all the associated electronics with the new fuel injection bikes. These old two-strokes are the bomb. They're awesome. Get one and give it a run. So take a couple weeks, camp right out here at Durhamtown, and get up the confidence on a track like this by yourself without any pressure, without anybody watching. So when you get home to your track, you can start clearing all the big jumps just like the pros. So Eric, you're 50 years old. You started riding dirt bikes at
31 years old.
31 years old, and you spent the last 4 years of your life not only testing these tracks, but designing and improving the changes. You said this is one of your favorite tracks here at Durhamtown. Why?
Well, I like to go fast on the dirt bike for sure, but rhythm and flow is my favorite part of riding, which is why I like riding tracks so much. This track is built on rhythm and flow. There is speed, but there's just something about dialing in the rhythm of the jumps, the flow of the track, man, it just does something for me. I love it.
And what a great tool for practicing for, I mean, you're out here by yourself, no pressure, no spectators, doing some pretty big jumps with no penalty if you case them, really, other than a little bit of a jolt. There's no like
there's really not a peak for the landings like a true double or triple might have. They're kind of tabletops with a slight knuckle on the end, and like you said, if you come up short, you're not going to frame case out. You might take a little bit of an impact to your knees or ankles, but it's very forgiving, it's very safe. You can kind of jump out, and before you know it, you're to the sweet spot of the landing.
So once you figure out how to do the jumps in a straight line, then you can safely mix it up on a track with a corner, a jump, then a corner, a tabletop. You can more safely navigate the jumps rather than going out on a full-on motocross track where you've got all the challenges thrown at you, and that's when you can whiskey throttle and fly off the track.
Right, and everybody knows, years back, Red Bull came up with the Straight Rythym event. We called it Straight Rythym for a little while, and then we realized, well, it's not totally straight. It's actually shaped like a paperclip. You go down one lane, you've got a 180 berm, you come back on the return lane, and you can go out of the exit and go ride something else, or you can loop it, go right back to the entrance, drop in, and just continue to run it until you get it dialed or until you've had your feel.
So you can run the Rythym track, you can go do the flat track, practice your flat tracking skills. If you're got a little kid, you bring them to the mini track. You even have the drag race track where you can practice your start and straightaway skills. Then you've got all the single track, side-by-side tracks. You've got the hill climbs. You've got, I don't know, 16 motocross tracks with all different types of terrain, uphills, downhills, Grand Prix tracks. You can really hone your skills. Like you can't come here and not leave a better rider.
You really can't. And what happens is, you go to, let's say, a motocross track. They normally have one track, maybe a smaller pee-wee track, and it's usually 25 or 30 bucks to ride that facility. For $40 for a dirt bike or an ATV, it's $60 for a side-by-side. Like you said, you get 16 different tracks to ride. You get over 150 miles of one-way
It's like $2.50 a track.
I mean, to me, you just can't beat it for the price. I mean, where else can you go ride so many different features on one facility for $40? It's just, to me, it's unbelievable what we have.
And the location's at 10. It's frozen and snowy at home in Connecticut, but here it's been 60, 70 degrees, it'll be 75 tomorrow. It is your winter time, but it's not really winter. Everybody's out, you can ride. It's Monday. Great to come here during the week. A lot of people are working to get the whole track to yourself. But we're only 12 hours from New York and 6 hours from Daytona Beach, so it's in a pretty cool spot where in the winter time it's warm, and in the summertime it doesn't get as hot and humid as Florida. So it's really a year-round riding facility. And if you want to come for a few days, get out of work early on a Thursday, drive down or drive up wherever you're coming from, and camp. The full hookup, 50 amp, sewers, water right here in the pro shop. They've got food, bar, everything you need right here. So
everything you need is right here on the facility. We are a true resort. Once you get to the property, you only have to leave if there's something in particular that you want. We have snacks, we have food, we have a kitchen, we sell beer, we sell liquor in our lodge, we have bottled water, we have Powerade, we have all the bases covered. If you want a true destination for a getaway where you want to come and ride, you can show up to our facility. You don't even have to bring your own dirt bike or four-wheeler. We rent dirt bikes, four-wheelers, side-by-sides, we rent helmets, we rent boots. You can just show up, and you could actually stay on the property 5, 6, 7 days and never have to leave. Everything you need is right here.
And if you're a national, world, global corporation like Honda and you want to do a release of the prototypes like Honda did here a few weeks ago,
sure,
you've got some very picturesque spots to film, and they can roll up here with their big rigs. I pulled in with my Volvo semi. We're 80 feet long. We took up 2 sites in the campground because it's so long, but I didn't have to turn around. I pulled their pull-through sites, full hookups, and there aren't a lot of campgrounds you can go in that are big rig friendly. It's big rig friendly. And I mentioned Honda because obviously if Honda can host an event here, if you want to have a bachelor's party here, if you want to have a wedding here, or if your wife's into dirt bikes, or if you want to have a birthday party for your kids, you have all kinds of events here, right?
All kinds of events, options, like you said. First week in February, American Honda was here filming a commercial for some new bikes they're about to release. We've had Can-Am come out here and do filming for a commercial. We do corporate events. We have something for anyone and everyone.
Yep. It's just like I've said multiple times. This is a place you got to put on your bucket list. It's surrounded by basically a national park. It's massive and endless, and you'll be riding a single track trail through the woods, and you'll come upon a 20-acre motocross track. It looks like something out of a magazine. It's just striking. Surrounded by evergreens. It's always green here because there's so many evergreens. There is no season where you won't have some green, and they have hunting here, fishing, swimming hole. Just an incredible place, and they're building a resort campground on the grounds here that Christy and I looked at, and we want in. We want to reserve a spot when they open, and or I don't know if they lease or sell, but this is a place that you want to get involved to whatever degree. At the very least, come spend a weekend, because you cannot ride all the tracks in one day. I don't think it's really possible, could you?
It's really not. I can cover some ground on my bike or my four-wheeler, and I've tried. You can't ride, you cannot put tires on every track and trail that we have in 2 straight days of riding. Our lodge opens at 8 a.m. where you can go in, fill out your waiver if you don't have one on file. You can buy your wristband, like I said, for $40 or $60, depending on what you're riding or driving. Riding starts at 9 a.m. You can ride till 6 p.m. and we are open 364 days a year. The only day that we close is Christmas Day.
And you can ride here every day because there's no snow.
Every day. It doesn't matter. We're open every day, rain or shine. After a heavy rain, there might be a few tracks and trails that'll be closed, but with 16 tracks and over 150 miles of trails, we always have something open to ride. We never fully close the facility because of bad weather. Because believe it or not, there's people that love going out and riding in the mud, the rain, the nasty weather. Like I said, 364 days, we are open and we are accepting riders.
We had an interview with one of the founders of the facility, Mike, this morning, who's retired, and I just spoke on the phone to one of his friends who had been riding here for 45 years. He's in his late 60s. He's been riding here since he was a kid, and it's a multi-generational effort to get it to where it is now. Eric and his team have taken over on the track and grounds and improvements, and it's just incredible. If you haven't been here in a few years, are there any tracks you haven't redone?
Let me think. There is not one single track on the property that right now is exactly like it was 2 years ago. Over the last 2 years, we've made changes, we've made improvements, and it's not all on us. We listen to rider feedback. We've had riders come to us and say, hey, we really like this track, but what if you had this, or what if you had that? We take that into consideration. We go out, ride with some of our customers, some of our riders. We get together and talk about it afterward. And if we think it's a change the majority of riders will enjoy, we go for it. Because if it doesn't work out and we don't like it, we can always change it back. Ever since we've started making changes, we have not undone a single change we've made. We get positive feedback from what we're doing. Like I said, our employees, our operators, we're all riders. So it's not like we're just throwing darts at the board blindly. We have an idea of what we're doing before we do it. And once the task is completed, it's all positive feedback.
So all the new tracks have been completely redone. If you haven't been here in 2 years, you need to check it out. Not only have those been redone, but other ones have been added. New trails have been added. In the resort campground, we shot some footage this morning. Christy does not like being out in the cold, and it's the middle of winter here, so we were outside for 8 hours today. She normally wouldn't be out here. She didn't have her winter clothes. We're down in Florida, and she was just like blown away by what we saw. The new resort campground with the 3 ponds. We got some footage of that we'll be putting up. It's spectacular. It's the kind of place if you have a big rig. It's about maybe a half a mile from Ground Central where all the tracks are.
It's half a mile to a mile.
On the same contingent piece of property. And the best part about it is you just ride from the campground here, and it is, because it's not in Ground Central, the pits or the main pit area, it's kind of like being in a resort campground.
It really is. It seems separate, even though it's adjacent or kind of attached to the main property. You can go over there and it's like you're in another world. It really is. And then within 2 minutes, you can be right here at ground zero where all our tracks and trails.
Yeah, Christy fell in love with the spot up on the hill there. We're going to talk to Mike tomorrow morning and see if we can get the first reservation for when you open it. When's your plan to open the campground?
Our plan is July 1st. we're hoping it could be a little sooner, it could be a little later, but that's what we have for a plan. We're hoping by July 1st, that campground is accepting rental areas or accepting campers. We even have spots we're going to sell or lease.
And like I said, if you have a big rig, you want a big rig friendly place that you can haul in a semi from a factory race team or something, you can roll in with the KTM or Gas factory team rig here, and they got a spot for you, full hookups. And I can't imagine that Barsha and the boys wouldn't have a freaking awesome time here. Let's consider this. Bam Bam, if you're watching, you're invited.
Come spin with us, Bam Bam.
We got Ronnie Mac down here. We'll get some of the old pros. We'll get some of the fast New England guys like Canning. It's just a place that I think they would enjoy, and I'm definitely inspired me. I'm gonna come down and do some riding. I'm gonna try to hit all 16 tracks without definitely not one day, but I'll need to be here for like a week or something.
Yeah. So take this as a personal invitation from Ken and from myself. We want you here. Come visit us. Come let us know what you think. I promise you, change your life. Come here one time, and this will be a spot that you'll want to vacation to ride every year.
It had you at Hello. You left your job as a you had a motocross track, your own private motocross track, and you had a golf course that you maintained, and you came down here and you uprooted everything and moved, and you haven't left. You've been here for 4 years full time, and you've been here 10 years on and off. But
right, it was just shy of 10 years ago I came for the first time, and in 2016 I started coming multiple times a year. Can't remember if it was 2018 or 19. I lived over 400 miles away and more than a 7-hour one-way drive, and I came 5 or 6 times in 1 year, and it still was not enough.
Well, I think you're blessed. Yeah, I think you have. I thought I had the best job in the world, but I think being the track tester here may have trumped that. Stay tuned, guys. We're going to try to hit some more of the tracks the sun's about to set. We'll have an interview with the founder of Durhamtown, God willing, tomorrow morning. Thanks for watching. And as always, God bless the United States of America.
Come see us when you can.
Amen.